The sound of tires crunching over gravel broke the quiet morning peace of Foxglove Summit. I looked up from my porch coffee to see Gloria Finity marching up my driveway like she was invading Normandy. Clipboard in hand, HOA badge shining like fool's gold in the sunlight, and two nervous volunteers trailing behind her. "Excuse me, you can't deny a mandatory HOA inspection," she shrieked, red-faced and trembling with authority she didn't actually have. That was Gloria, our self-appointed queen of the Homeowners Association. She once fined a man $50 for hanging emotionally aggressive wind chimes. A woman who treated bylaws like gospel and her neighbors like sinners in need of discipline. I'm Elliot Grange, a quiet engineer, lover of cold brew, Norwegian crime novels, and the kind of silence you only get living miles from anyone who says policy enforcement. My cabin was my sanctuary. Built it myself. Paid every HOA fee. Followed every rule that made sense. Then I installed a composting toilet. That tiny eco-friendly upgrade was the moment Gloria decided I was her new enemy. She started with emails. "We're concerned about unusual smells. Some residents reported smoke. Are you housing bees?" "No, Gloria, that's called living." Next came her inspections. One morning, I caught her halfway up the ridge with binoculars and a digital thermometer, claiming she was checking for heat leaks. Another time, she sent a photo of my deck railing asking if it met HOA standard slope requirements. I told her politely, then firmly, to stay off my land. She took that as a declaration of war. 2 days later, Gloria showed up again, clipboard in one hand, laminated card in the other. "I'm authorized under Section 12 to perform structural assessments," she declared proudly. I had read those bylaws cover to cover. Section 12 was about pool chlorine levels. "Gloria," I said, "you're 40 miles from the nearest pool." Her nostrils flared. "It's been updated." Sure it had. From that moment on, I couldn't fix a single loose board without her lurking somewhere nearby. If I so much as hammered a nail, she'd email me, "We receive reports of unusual sounds." Apparently, maintenance now counted as suspicious activity. Then came the night I caught her peering through my window with a flashlight. When I opened the door, she jumped back like a kid caught stealing cookies. "Oh, Elliot, just checking for carbon monoxide leaks," she stammered, waving what looked like a TV remote. "Gloria, it's 9:30 p.m. Emergency inspections can happen anytime," she said proudly. I actually laughed. She didn't. Her new tactic? Surveillance. She recruited her adult son, Trevor, a lanky 20-something who clearly didn't want to be there, to monitor compliance. I found him one afternoon sitting in a folding chair at the property line with binoculars. Monitoring what exactly? I asked. He looked at his clipboard and read, "Unauthorized modifications, improper waste disposal, and excessive bird attraction." Excessive bird attraction. He shrugged. "Mom says your feeder violates Section 8B. I had one bird feeder. That's when Sarah, my wife, decided she'd had enough. See, Sarah isn't just calm and patient. She's also a U.S. Marshal. And she has zero tolerance for fake authority. The morning Gloria showed up for her final inspection, Sarah was home early from work. She met Gloria at the bottom of the driveway. Gloria's little parade of clipboard carriers and trembling volunteers stopped short when they saw the badge. "Do you have a warrant?" Sarah asked evenly. Gloria scoffed. "This is HOA jurisdiction. I don't need a warrant." Sarah turned and walked inside without a word. When she came back, she held a slim manila folder, one she'd quietly been compiling for months. Gloria blinked. "What's that?" Sarah flipped it open. "Your warrant," she said. And there it was, Gloria Finity's name printed neatly on an unsealed federal arrest warrant. The color drained from her face. Her clipboard hit the gravel with a soft thud. And in that moment, I realized the woman who once fined me for hanging wind chimes was about to face a real inspection, the kind conducted by federal agents. Gloria's transformation was instant. 1 second the HOA Empress, the next a suburban deer in headlights. I don't understand," she sputtered. "This has to be a mistake." Sarah stayed calm, flipping through the file. 3 years ago, you used your HOA title to create a fake business license for a contractor in Jefferson County. You signed the paperwork as Gloria Affinity, County Licensing Coordinator. That's not a crime. Gloria stammered. Sarah raised an eyebrow. Impersonating a government official is a federal offense. You also forged 2 signatures and used counterfeit letterheads. The warrant was issued last week. Dennis, the jittery volunteer, looked like he wanted to disappear into the earth. The clipboard woman took 2 quiet steps backward. Gloria tried to pivot. This is harassment. You're abusing your position to intimidate a community volunteer. Sarah smiled faintly. I'm off duty. This is a citizen's arrest based on an active federal warrant. The gravel crunched as Gloria's bolt cutters fell from her trembling hands. I'm the HOA President, she shouted. That's not a real position of authority, Sarah replied. And even if it were, federal law outranks HOA bylaws. 20 surreal minutes later, Deputy Collins from the county sheriff's office arrived. A patient man with a mustache that radiated quiet disappointment. He said, looking over the warrant. This is for identity fraud and impersonation. Has nothing to do with any cabin. Gloria looked at me like I'd summoned a storm. I was trying to help the community, she cried. Sarah crossed her arms. By charging people $300 for fake permits. The deputies exchanged looks. Gloria's protest turned into conspiracy theories about deep fakes, government plants, and big compost. By the time they cuffed her, she was demanding to speak to the real authorities. Sarah leaned in. You're looking at her. When the patrol car drove away, the entire valley seemed quieter, like the forest itself was relieved. At the next HOA meeting, live-streamed by popular demand, I gave a presentation titled Boundaries, Warrants, and Why You Leave Married Men's Cabins Alone. Sarah sat beside me knitting a scarf that read Biob, Bring Your Own Badge. Gloria resigned on the spot. Her replacement, a sweet retired librarian, introduced one simple rule. If the property has no smoke, bees, or bodies, leave it be. Applause filled the room. As for Gloria, she pled down to community service and probation. Ironically, her assignment, clearing trail overgrowth, right behind my cabin. The first morning she showed up, orange vest on, trash bag in hand, she froze when she saw Sarah on the porch. This is humiliating, she muttered to her supervisor. Sarah just smiled, tightened her yarn, and went back to her knitting. I raised my coffee mug in silent salute. Justice, it turns out, doesn't always arrive with flashing lights. Sometimes it wears a badge and knits scars while the bully picks up litter in front of your composting toilet. And in Foxglove Summit, that's what we now call natural balance restored.